Our next guest should look pretty familiar. Michael Sedini from Eagle Imports was not too long ago, but he has so much cool stuff. We had to bring him on back to the show for more. What's going on, man?
How you doing, man? Thank you for having me on again. Give me a chance to go over some of the other stuff I have.
No, man. No, you're good. You're good, man. Let's hit the ground running.
Okay, it's very difficult for me because we're like a representative from Ruger. Has to only talk about Ruger products.
Yeah, you're kind of like
6% of the lines. Hey, my catalog's 50 pages.
Dude,
so
you're like a firearm manufacturer polygamist.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, I mean,
I like that. But no, so let's hit the ground running. Let's go. We'll start with Bursa. We'll talk about Bursa again. I think we touched on a couple of the models there. This is the Bursa BP. This is the one I was showing you the last time. This actually, I have a good friend. His name's Shane Leanna. He's an investor in Cryptech, and he got me started taking all my guns and getting them Cryptech coated. So that's not normally how this gun comes, but since I'm doing this from my house,
so you get to pull out the special stuff.
But everything from single stack 9mm polymer gun to the Thunder 380.
Gotcha.
I know that today we want to talk about Shaneen Allen. That was
absolutely.
That was the Thunder 380 is the gun that Shaneen had.
So Thunder 380 was the gun that she had whenever she got pulled over.
Actually, if you want to talk about that first, just since
let's do it.
Like it's fitting the climate of your show from the previous
guest.
Yeah, absolutely. I had heard that Shaneen had got caught in New Jersey, which is my home state.
Yeah.
Jersey, and she had a Thunder 380. And it's funny because that, I guess the whole idea of the thing is someone made a mistake, but literally took the time to go get her concealed carry license to protect herself and her family. And then also one of the reasons why she bought the Thunder 380 was because it had so many safety features.
Gotcha.
Because she had small children. So she loved that there was a magazine disconnect. There was a integral locking system, and then there was a decocker. So like that was one of the reasons why she bought the Thunder 380.
Yeah. Now, for people who don't understand the background of Shaneen Allen, because you and I are intimately familiar with it because of the work you did, and then of course the videos that I did on it. Kind of go into really quickly what happened to Shaneen Allen and why we're talking about her.
Yeah, well, Shaneen was basically a woman who is a single mom who lived in a pretty poor area of Philly, who wanted to protect herself because she had been robbed a couple times. Mm-hmm. And basically went through the completely legal process of purchasing a gun and getting a concealed carry permit, who made a mistake, which she fully admits to.
Yeah.
But to me, it was kind of like, it's like when Kevin Bacon in Footloose moved to a town that didn't have music and dancing. He didn't realize he was in Everyone knows Philly. It's a stone's throw away from New Jersey. But the laws couldn't be more different.
Yeah.
Right. And basically, she worked in Atlantic City, and she was driving back and forth from work every night, protecting herself, having the gun there. And it's funny, just to show you that she wasn't even, there was, no malice in her intent, right?
Yeah.
She actually had the gun like completely locked up in her glove box, where she had the integral safety, like the lock.
Oh, really? The lock that comes with the gun? Really? Wow.
Yeah. So she wasn't even prepared to, if she got in this situation, I always tell people, like, your hand's going to shake if you're trying to lock the gun. But she basically got pulled over by police. I think she maybe had been speeding or something, or who knows, whatever they pull people over for. And, right.
Dude, I get pulled over all the time.
I bet.
Except I'm legitimately speeding.
It's one of those things where you never know, especially in Jersey where they have nothing to do on the parkway or anything like that to pull over people. Right. But she was honest, and the sad part about it is she probably would have never said anything about the gun. She would have never gotten in trouble. So it's one of those tough situations because like you want to obey the law and you want to do the right thing, but you can make a mistake. And I think it should have been a judgment call. But she got roped into something to where she broke a law that they consider major in New Jersey because there's no reciprocity with Pennsylvania.
Gotcha.
And that really, I mean, man, what it did to her life was insane.
No, it struck a chord with me because, I mean, my mom, she's a single parent of two. My mom's a single parent as well. And I know some of the vulnerabilities that she's found herself in growing up. I'm aware of them now. When I was younger, they didn't really stick out. But, you know, I remember mornings when she would have to, like when it was really cold outside and I was too young to go and do it for her, she'd have to go down and de-ice the car and do all of these things in the middle of, I mean, we're talking like 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, you know, a single woman doing this in the middle of the night in an area that is not that great. You know what I mean? So it's kind of like when I heard about Shanine Allen, it really kind of hit me in a place where I'm just like, wait, so we're really gonna use a single parent mother of 2 kids who lives in a shitty neighborhood. We're really going to use, that's the example that we want to stand on to tout how well our gun control laws work. Like, I don't understand that level of stupidity, unfortunately.
Okay, so I go through all these emotions. Like when I first hear about the story, of course, for me, I'm like, New Jersey, and it's a person, right? Because that's like the two, like it's a perfect storm coming together. Right? So immediately my first reaction is like, this is great. New Jersey has no crime anymore because now we're going after people like Shanine because we have like solved the heroin epidemic and Atlantic City is like totally built up again and there's no crime in Trenton.
Like we're laughing, but it's really not even funny. It's like this is the level of sheer stupidity that we are talking about when we talk about gun laws and anti-gun politicians. They are morons. Like, and then again, it begs the question: are they really morons, or are they just that evil? Like they really wanted to use Shanine Allen to make an example out of her. Like that is disgusting to me.
Let me tell you something about. Okay, so her lawyer calls me. I tried to. Actually, they never reached out to even get my help. Yeah. It was the NRA that reached out to get my help.
Gotcha.
Jeannie Simone, like. They put so much behind it. So there are some really cool stories that came to this. I think you actually touched on it earlier with one of your other segments where you said like a tragedy or something that's horrible goes out and in
a weird way kind of serves as a form of advocacy and education. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. And that's why I called her a crusader for change. I don't know if you ever saw the video I did for NRA because even though I don't think she was asking for that, and that's a delicate situation in itself because I had a personal relationship with Shanine when we started talking, and I remember she's like, I feel like I'm this poster child for the NRA, but I want them to help me too. You can't just put somebody up there, use them for that platform, not help them. So like that's why I did all the fundraisers, and I immediately was calling my friends Corey Jones from Glock. I'm like, donate. I don't care what. If you don't know about the situation, I'm asking you to throw in minimum $500. You know, like those things. But it was one of those things where, once I got in contact with her lawyer, because at that time she was pretty guarded because she was like, look, I'm just in this situation. I'm trying to get my life back together. And what people don't understand about these situations is like, even when you're cleared, you're not really cleared. Yeah. So her name doesn't come off of a felon list. It takes time. Yeah. So she's like, oh, look, I'm trying to get a job as a nurse. I got 2 boys. Yeah, she's got to get it expunged and first got to get sealed, expunged, and that process takes time. That process takes money. Yeah. They don't give you just a paper that says, it's cool. You're clear now, and then wipe your name clean from all the databases. No, you're essentially still a felon in most employers' eyes until that's off of the record books. But her lawyer, though, real quick, so I'll wrap that up. But her lawyer, it was funny because her lawyer, you could tell, was just one of these good people that puts her time into helping people that are at a disadvantage. Yeah. And her lawyer actually said, she's like, Shanine is so cute. Every time I go to visit her in her neighborhood, she's like, she walks me to the car. It was this thing where it's like, Shanine is a good person because like she's just trying to better her position, and You know, just to have the lawyer be like, it's cute, like she protects me, like as she's bringing me to the car. So that, yes, if you live in a neighborhood that's like that, you need protection.
Yeah, and I think a lot of that flies under the radar. I think in many ways, a lot of these politicians look at the situation from their vantage point, which is, I'm an elite, I live in this area, which is relatively nice, and of course I don't want all these other lower class people who are out there committing all of these crimes to have guns to possibly injure me. So let me do everything in my power to make sure that nobody has guns around me except for me and all the rest of my elite friends. And that's all I care about, because at the end of the day, I'm more important than you are and all of you other people who I'm ruling over. That's essentially the mentality behind gun control laws for all you people out there who aren't paying attention.
I mean, look at Chicago. I mean, if you had, I mean, to me, I always say, because I grew up with a lot of liberal beliefs, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I grew up in Jersey and California. I'm naturally going to have a lot of liberal beliefs.
Yeah, we forgive you. No, I'm just messing with you, man. No, I get what you're saying. Yeah.
To do it like with me, because I look at the situation, and if I'm like CNN, which, you know, is very liberal media,
Yeah.
and you were that outraged about death and guns, you would have Chicago a ticker on your homepage every day.
Yeah.
Because that's where mass shootings are happening in my world, right? Because they equal up to the one that happens every year or so. But they don't care.
They don't care. They don't. And it's easier to stand on guns and say, you know what, these are the problems. If we get rid of this, we'd solve all of these other problems. And then they have the fallback of, well, if it had just saved one life, then that was worth it. I was like, you morons. What about the countless people who died because they didn't have a gun? So that one life didn't matter, but the one where you did something that you thought affected the fact that somebody died or saved a life was more important than the person who didn't have the gun necessary to protect a life with. And that's the type of mentality that we're dealing with. And you're right. It's like if you really truly honestly cared, right? There would be no distinction. It wouldn't be, well, this mass shooting here and then these shootings that happen in Chicago. A death is a death is a death, whether it happens by way of a gun, a knife, a baseball bat, or at the hands of a psychopath, period. And so if we start addressing the real issue of violence in this country, I think we'd get a lot further than trying to vilify a piece of plastic and metal. Like it just baffles me. Yeah, that's my soapbox for right now. We're going to take a quick break, and then we'll come back and get back on the soapbox and talk about some other stuff.
Sounds good.
All right, man.
I love soapboxes.
Yeah, right? So